So you want to add muscle, but you don't want to put on body fat. Well, join the club. As a natural and someone who's been training natural for over 20 years at this point, the main thing is trying to put on muscle without getting fat. And to be honest with you, it's impossible. Sorry to break it to you. I'm going to give you some tips to help minimize the fat gain, but it's impossible to do it without it. There's no way to do it, especially naturally. There's no way. But there are ways to minimize the fat gain. And the reason why you're going to gain body fat is because when you go into a calorie surplus or taking in more calories than your body needs, your body doesn't want to make muscle. Muscle is like an expensive tissue for your body to make. However, it's easy for your body to store body fat. So whenever you have excess calories coming in, which is what you need to move the needle and gain muscle every week, what happens is your body's automatically just going to put everything on. But there are ways to minimize the amount of fat. I'm going to cover those today. So number one is you need to control your calorie intake. You can't go on a seafood bulk or a dirty bulk as it's called, where you kind of eat everything you want. I'm bulking, so I'm just going to eat everything. And you use it as an excuse to eat a lot of calories. I actually have a big appetite. My stomach doesn't fit that much food, which is why I was kind of always like a skinnier guy growing up. But I have a big appetite. I can eat. And I've tried to do like the dirty bulk where I'm just kind of eating a ton of calories. And it didn't get me anywhere. I just put on a lot of like unnecessary weight. And that's not what I want for you, because I don't want you to have to spend more time dieting off the fat that you put on as opposed to retaining the muscle that you've had. So we got to control your calorie intake. So I would start with a reasonable number first. Figure out your maintenance calories and then eat just above that, anywhere between 200 to 500 calories before that. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time and your metabolism will adjust over time, so you might have to bump that up a little bit. But by controlling your calorie intake and not having like crazy seafood and I just eat everything I want days, you'll be able to minimize that fat gain. I've noticed that body fat comes on when you have like a day where you don't log everything. You just kind of eat whatever you want. Usually those days are the days that pack body fat on, not muscle. They do the opposite. And there's probably a lot of reasons for that, but when you control your calorie intake and you eat within those limits, you're more than likely going to put on muscle as opposed to putting on fat. Now, the second thing is you need to focus on doing more volume in the gym. Like I said, whenever you're over consuming calories, your body has enough fuel to get things done. A lot of naturals, especially nowadays, they focus on guys like Mike Mentzer and HIIT training where it's very minimal on the amount of sets that they need to do, and they just take that stuff to failure. But I will tell you, as a natural, your body can take a lot more than you think. So I would bump up your volume. So let's just say, for example, you normally do 4 sets for biceps twice a week. So it's 8 total sets for biceps a week because the science guru tells you that's what you need to do, right? I'm saying you could probably double that intake. Now, don't double that overnight, but go from 8 to 12. And see what happens and watch if you're making progress. Do you get stronger? Are you developing a better mind-muscle connection? Are you noticing some changes? If not, you could probably bump it up again because your body will stall. And again, you should focus on making these quality sets. It shouldn't just be junk just to put the volume in. Focus on quality. So for example, I've talked about this in other videos, especially for skinny guys, less is always more. Always more. Focus on less movements and focus on getting stronger with them. That's going to ultimately change your physique. But when it comes to like certain movements, so like let's just say, for example, going with the bicep thing, you're doing 3 sets of barbell curls and your form is perfect, your mind muscle connection is perfect. Can you add another set to that? Add another set to it. Your body can take it. You will adapt to it. We're taking in extra fuel. We might as well utilize that to put on more muscle. So focus on adding more volume over time. Stop listening to the studies. Stop following all those guys that talk about just 1 set to failure. Take your sets to failure, work really hard, and increase the amount of sets possible. Okay? Trust me, it will go a long way, and it's worked for me and all my clients as well. Now, the third thing, you need to cut back on activity. Now, for overall health standpoint, you do need to hit a certain amount of steps every day, and it's good for your heart, lungs, You don't want to have high cholesterol either or high blood pressure or anything like that. It's good for health. But you're training, right? A couple times a week, preferably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 days a week. You're working out at this point. But you have to cut back on activity. So what I'm talking about is this. Someone had told me this. I don't remember. Someone told it to me. I don't remember who it was, but it was like when you're standing, sit. When you're sitting, lying down. When you lie down, take a nap. So whenever possible, if you're standing, like right now I'm filming this, I'm standing. If my goal was to put on as much muscle as possible, I should be sitting when I'm doing this. Well, for example, if I'm sitting down at the table, reading a book or watching something on my phone, can I go on the couch and lie down? Because every time you progress into one of those other things, you're doing a little bit better of a way to recover. You're recovering a little bit faster, you're resting more, and as we know, muscle is gained outside of the gym, not in the gym. So whenever you're standing, try to sit. Whenever you're sit, try to lie down. Whenever you're lying down, try to take a nap. And if you do that, you will put on more muscle because you're going to be more recovered. Your body's going to be more rested. And now if you want to lose body fat, it's the total opposite of that. Whenever you're taking a nap, lie down. Whenever you're lying down, you want to try to sit. Whenever you try to sit, you want to try to stand. Whenever you're trying to stand, you want to try to walk. So follow that, like do less activity, because typically when we have muscle, we're a little bit more like, especially when we're in a calorie surplus, our NEAT or our non-exercise activity is always a little higher. Like right now I'm talking to you, my hands are moving, like I'm pretty active, right? But if I was to just kind of relax a little bit, I'd be conserving calories, which is essentially what you want to do when your goal is to build muscle. So links to all the programs that I have, especially my strong program, which will help you put on as much muscle as possible, are below. And if you guys have any questions about that, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know. And until next time, this was Anthony, AB Fitness Center. I'll catch you on the next one. If you're interested in taking your health and fitness journey to the next level, be sure to check out my diet books and training programs. These resources are designed to provide you with the tools and knowledge you need to reach your goals and feel your best. Click the link to pick up my books right on Amazon.